Welcome to the ultimate smackdown of delusional claims and crushing reality. Today we're putting the spotlight on Michael Chandler, the man who thinks he's an MMA superhero. With a dash of ego and a pinch of delusion, he's ready to take on the lens in his own mind, but let's be real, folks. Chandler's claims are about as credible as participation trophy in a championship game. Chandler's latest claim is that he could beat Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time. Now, we all know Khabib's a legend with a record that as spotless as his wrestling skills are dominant. But Chandler is not deterred. He's like the kid in school who thinks he can take down the star quarterback without even breaking a sweat. So, what's behind Chandler's confidence? Is it his impressive record in Bellator? Please, he's been beat up by some of the best in the business. Is it his UFC performances? Let's just say he's had his fair share of ups and downs, and more downs. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at Chandler's claim and see if they hold up to reality. We'll examine his record, his skills, and his performances and compare them to Khabib's. And let's be real, folks, it's going to be a short comparison. Khabib's the gold standard, and Chandler's just a participation trophy. So buckle up, folks, and get ready for the ultimate smackdown. Michael Chandler's ego is about to meet its match, and it's going to be a wild ride. So let's take a closer look at Chandler's claim. He says he could beat Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time. But what makes him think that? Is it his experience in Bellator, his UFC record, or is it just plain old-fashioned ego? Chandler's record in Bellator is certainly impressive with 13 wins and 5 losses. But let's not forget, Bellator is a different league with different fighters and different competition. And in the UFC, Chandler's record is, well, let's just say it's not exactly what you'd call impressive. 4 wins and 4 losses in the UFC. That's not exactly the kind of record that screams, I'm going to beat Khabib Nurmagomedov. And yet, Chandler's confidence that he can take down the legend. Chandler says he's 100% confident that he can beat Khabib, but confidence isn't enough, folks. You need skills, you need strategy, and you need a whole lot of luck. And let's be real, Chandler's not exactly overflowing with luck. Khabib Nurmagomedov, on the other hand, is different story altogether, with 29 wins and 0 losses. He's one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time, and his skills, forget about it. The man's a wrestling machine with a submission game that's almost impossible to escape. So, what happens when you put these two fighters in the same octagon? Well, let's just say it's not exactly a fair fight. Khabib's got the skills, the strategy, and the dominance. Chandler's got, well, Chandler's got a lot of confidence. You know what's interesting about Chandler's claim? He's not calling out the top contender in the lightweight division. No, he's going after a retired fighter like Khabib Nurmagomedov, a fighter who's already proven himself to be one of the greatest of all time but is no longer active in the sports. Chandler's confidence seems to step from the fact that Khabib's retired and he's banking on the idea that the Dagestani legend will never come back. But let's be real, folks. Khabib's not just any ordinary fighter. He's a legend with a legacy that transcends the sports. Chandler's been quoted as saying that Khabib's retirement is a key factor in his confidence. He thinks that Khabib's out of the game and that he's got the upper hand. But what if Khabib decides to come back? What if he's not done yet? You know, Khabib's been keeping busy since his retirement. He's been involved in his family training camp and he's been speaking out on various issues in the MMA world. The man is still very much involved in the sports and you can't rule out the possibility of a comeback. And even if Khabib does come back, Chandler's got another argument ready. He thinks that Khabib won't be the same fighter he once was, that he'll be rusty or past his prime. But let's not forget, folks, Khabib's a legend for a reason. He's master of his craft and he's always been able to adapt and evolve. Khabib's got a reputation for being one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time, and it's not just because of his record, it's because of his skills, his strategy, and his. Meanwhile, Chandler got his own issues to deal with. He struggled in the UFC and he's got a record that's far from impressive. Maybe instead of calling out retired fighters, he should focus on beating some actual contenders. And there you have it, folks. Michael Chandler's claim to beat Khabib Nurmagomedov is nothing more than a pipe dream, a delusional fantasy with no basis in reality. Chandler's confidence is admirable, but it's not enough to make him a top contender. He's got a long way to go before he can even think about taking on a legend like Khabib. The difference between these two fighters is like night and day. Khabib's a legend with a record that's unmatched and skill set that's unparalleled. Chandler's a journeyman fighter with a record that's mediocre at best. Khabib's the real deal, folks. He's fighter who's dominated his division for years, and he's got a legacy that will be remembered for generations to come. Chandler, on the other hand, is just a footnote in the history books. So, Michael Chandler, here's a reality check for you. You're not going to beat Khabib Nurmagomedov. You're not even close to his level. Maybe instead of chasing pipe dreams, you should focus on becoming a top contender in your own right. Chandler's got a lot of work to do if he wants to become a legitimate contender. He's got to improve his skills, he's got to gain more experience, and he's got to start winning against top level opponents. Thanks for watching, folks. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more MMA content.